As the day of my graduation approached, my excitement seemed to increase every day. I had struggled from last year, through a lot of trauma, to reach this milestone. It was not only my passion to become a nurse, but also my dream to serve others. And now, it was very close to becoming a reality, where I could serve my community wholeheartedly. Soon, the day arrived, and all my friends greeted each other. My own sounded extra chirpy to me. The university had recommended all the students to various hospitals. When I received my letter of recommendation, I was a bit stunned but regained my composure. I had been assigned to a nearby town to serve in a mental asylum. Initially, I was not very comfortable with the idea, but after speaking with a few of my teachers, I decided to accept the assignment. They assured me that it would be a valuable experience that would serve to increase my patience. As a nurse, patience is one of the most important qualities one can have. I had to serve there for an entire year, so I packed my bags and made my way to the asylum. By the time I arrived, it was almost evening. The shops were already closed, and everyone was rushing home. I took a cab to the asylum. After providing the required documents, a woman guided me upstairs to the hostel to show me my room. There was an unusual sense of silence in the entire area. I wasn't very fond of my room, but I reminded myself that it was just a matter of 1 year. After taking a look around the small room, I opened the window, which gave me a view of the huge lawns. These must be for the patients to get some daylight. That night was quite uneasy for me, but I guess it was because of the new place. I told myself that in a week or so, I would get adjusted. The next day, I got up early, changed into my professional clothes, and went to the senior's office. Martha, my senior, was a heavy-set woman dressed in a nurse's attire, with no expression on her face. She handed me a list with a few names on it. She said, "These are the patients you have to take care of." As I was about to leave, she added, "But be careful with her." Before I could ask Martha about her, she left. I started with my patients one by one, and honestly, it was not a good experience. They all talked so much, and it was very difficult to convince them to take their medication. However, by midday, I remembered her and made my way to her room. Her name was Ava, an old lady with gray hair, but very smooth skin. It seemed she had aged prematurely. She was sitting on a chair near her window. I greeted her with a hello, and she just looked at me. I added, "How are you?" But she remained silent. I can't forget that look, even now. It still gives me goosebumps. As days passed, I became deeply involved with her care. Every day I tried to talk to Ava about herself and her life, but she never replied. Nonetheless, I took great care of her. Sometimes I even brought her a cup of coffee from outside, despite not being allowed to do so. I tried my best. It felt like she was consuming me. Her eyes, when she looked at me, seemed to see through my soul, but she never spoke. One day I said, "Ava, when you look at me, it feels like you see through my soul." Surprisingly, she replied, "I want that." I was paralyzed for a moment. I didn't know how to react because, according to her medical condition, she hadn't spoken in many years. That day was very difficult to get through. That night, while sitting by my room's window, I saw her. I know I saw Ava standing on the lawn, walking and looking at me. I recognized her instantly. I tried to call out to her and rushed to find my mobile to take a picture, but when I returned to the window, she was gone. I didn't know what to do, but strangely, the temperature in my room dropped significantly. The next day, when I reached Martha's office, I felt an unusual chill all around. I thought it might be because I was coming down with a fever. After trying to calm myself, I asked Martha about Ava. What Martha told me nearly gave me a heart attack. She said Ava had died 3 days ago. How could that be possible? She had been there, and I had been there with her. She had even spoken to me. These words tumbled from my mouth, but it seemed as if I had lost my voice, and even now, I only had that chill with me, not my voice. As my friends and I bid farewell to our high school days, we yearned for an adventure to celebrate our newfound freedom. Searching relentlessly, we found ourselves at a loss, unable to settle on a destination that held a hint of novelty. Just as despondency began to take hold, a call pierced through the silence, interrupting our thoughts. A man on the other end beckoned us, enticing us with an offer too good to refuse, an exclusive discount on a week-long stay at a house called Serency. A surge of excitement coursed through me, and I eagerly relayed the news to my friends. Without hesitation, we agreed to embark on this mysterious journey. The following day, we gathered our belongings and set off on our adventure. Initially, everything seemed normal, and we reveled in the journey, basking in the warm sunlight and enjoying the picturesque landscapes. The open road stretched before us, promising excitement and discovery. However, as dusk cast its cloak upon the land, a disconcerting realization dawned upon us. We were nowhere near our intended destination. Confusion and frustration settled among us as we struggled to comprehend the map that should have led us to Serency. Determined to salvage our plans, we dialed the contact number repeatedly, hoping for answers. After numerous attempts, a voice finally answered, but it was not the man we had expected. Instead, a woman, claiming to be his wife, spoke in a calm yet unsettling tone. She informed us that we had taken a wrong turn and that our only option now was to abandon our vehicle and venture forth into the dense woods. Her instructions were clear but strange. Leave the car and follow the narrow path through the forest? Though hesitant, our desire to reach our destination overpowered our trepidation. The thought of being lost in an unfamiliar territory was daunting, but we felt compelled to follow her advice, believing it was our only hope. As we obediently threaded into the dimly lit forest, the trees seemed to close in around us, their branches forming a canopy that blocked out the remaining light. The path was narrow and twisted, barely visible in the growing darkness. An unsettling silence enveloped us, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves and distant, indistinct sounds that heightened our unease. With every step, the forest seemed to grow more ominous. Shadows danced in the corners of our eyes, and the air grew colder, sending shivers down our spines. We exchanged nervous glances, each of us silently questioning whether we had made a grave mistake. Yet, the desire to reach Serency and uncover what lay ahead drove us forward, deeper into the unknown. After what felt like an eternity of walking, a faint light emerged in the distance, casting a glimmer of hope upon us. Excitement washed over us as we approached the house we believed to be Serency. We knocked on the door, only to be greeted by an expressionless young boy. Exhausted and yearning for rest, we eagerly followed him to our assigned rooms. However, despite the weariness that consumed us, sleep eluded me that night. Restlessly, I rose from my bed and gazed out the window, only to be met with a crackling sound that sent shivers down my spine. Turning back, I found the room vacant. Yet when I glanced out the window once more, a vision of the entire place, engulfed in flames, seared into my mind. It lasted but a fleeting moment, leaving me disoriented and shaken. Morning arrived, but I felt drained and foggy. The day had plans and possibilities, but my friends seemed uninterested. Confused by their apathy, I struggled to understand what was happening. As evening came and we gathered for dinner, objects began to move on their own. Panic surged within me, and I tried to alert my friends, but it seemed like they couldn't hear me. My pleas went unheard as I fled in desperation, only to see the house caught in flames. Frantically, I sought help from the owner who had invited us, but they were nowhere to be found. In the flames, I saw a young boy, trapped and tormented by the fire. Disoriented, I stumbled through the dense woods, a nightmarish maze that seemed endless. Finally, I emerged onto a deserted road, watching the fire consume Serency House and the surrounding woods. At that moment, a blinding light engulfed me. When consciousness returned, I found myself confused within a hospital room, its sterile walls offering no solace from the haunting memories that plagued me. The police arrived, seeking answers regarding the death of my friend, but I can't say a word about it. Even after so many years passed, I still cannot talk about it. The only thing I can do is watch that burning house every night with that family.